So we've already talked about the different types of shots that we can get, but now we move on to something a little bit more advanced, which is movements, where the camera actually moves itself. So the first level of this is where the tripod or pedestal, the difference being that a tripod is just the three legs, the pedestal allows up and down movement. And we're going to leave that still. And so what I'm going to show you first is the pan and the tilt. Of course, here we have the tilt lock at the front, and at the very front on the front side is the pan lock. And so those are just things that you have to do. Whenever approaching a camera or leaving a camera, you need to make sure that the locks are on so that the camera doesn't just move on its own. But when you have your hands on it, you want to leave it unlocked because otherwise you will see kind of jerky movement. And of course, if you try to move it while it's locked, you will eventually break the lock. So the first movement that we're going to do is a pan. So here you can see a pan left and a pan right. I'm going to come back to center. Here is a tilt up and a tilt down. Okay, those are two basic shots. Now, they also have corresponding shots when you're actually moving the pedestal itself. And those are called truck and dolly. So when I want to dolly, I hold the camera and I dolly in. And when I want to come back, I'm dollying out. Now what you'll see at the beginning of this is it's a little jerky because the wheels aren't locked into a position. Now of course some pedestals will allow you to lock those wheels in a certain position. Ours do not. So it's always helpful to get the camera wheels in the direction that you're going to travel before you actually have to do that so that it's nice and smooth. When it comes to trucking, you're going left and right. So you're just moving the camera to the right or to the left. Now those are two different shots. Now the dolly works much like the zoom, which of course the zoom handle is right here, your focus handle is here. But the difference is the whole perspective changes as opposed to just kind of zooming in and out. So that's why you might use one over the other. When it comes to focusing, make sure that you're always going all the way in to focus, because otherwise you're going to focus on something that isn't actually your point. The next camera movement that we have is the pedestal. And again, this doesn't work on all tripods. This works only on tripods that are pedestals. In here, we actually push down, release the lever, and we can allow the camera to pedestal up, or we can pedestal the camera down. Then we get to kind of two more advanced movements that we don't always see. One is like an arc. So think about a basketball three-point arc, right? The same sort of movement. We see the arc used in all sorts of like Michael Bay movies, especially when like Optimus Prime is transforming and the camera is continuously going around and around. And that's what an arc does. So here we're going to have the arc, and I'm just going to pick up the cable. And you'll see that I'm going to travel in a circle. And I'm going to come back, and I'm going to pivot around in a circle. The other movement that we have is by using the pedestal or tripod's head in what we call a roll. And that's where we physically move the camera. And of course, I'm going to hold the camera securely so that it doesn't go anywhere as I release the headlock. Here, I can roll to the right or roll to the left. And that's the movement for roll. And then make sure that you balance the camera as you lock it back down. And those are the camera movements that we generally use in production.